We are very glad to having you. And let's start with again with you. Yeah,
Okay.
you are you are
I
you are
don't know if
working.
Gator his story was finished. Um, Very
Yes,
interesting.
thank you. I think I will keep it at this to keep the conversation a bit going and not to make it a monologue by me, because I can always talk, and that's not what we want to do here. We want to give everyone some information and share stuff together. So
Yeah.
please go ahead. If you can share your screen, Kubar, please do. If not, then please send me the stuff that you wanted to present, and I will share my screen again.
Okay. I will try to share my screen, but I have to hold my spacebar all the time, so I will now release it and try to share my screen. See if that works.
Right.
Okay. For the audience, Coebar is working in the energy sector, and actually he's part of one of the energy web validators company, Belgium-based Fluvius, and now he will talk about Fluvius EasyBat solution on the energy web tech stack.
Okay, guys.
I'm really
Does
excited
this
about this.
work? Does this work?
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I have some slides prepared, but let's not make it a dull slide presentation. So what I actually would like to do is go through some slides with you all and explain a bit where we at with EasyBat. EasyBat is the test solution that we have built already. I think it's like 2 years ago since we released the first version. And we done that together with BeBat. BeBat is a company in Belgium that is like responsible for making sure that all the batteries are like properly recycled and that the life cycle of these batteries is done in a correct way. So it's in line with what Europe asks. Only until today, there is no digital passport or a solution to track individual battery installations. Or yeah, I must say to be correct, there is one. We actually built one. Okay, only it took some time to get it like properly ready to start an industrialization project. And yeah, I'm really excited today to say that this project got approved, that we're now ready to go into version 2, and that we will like from now kick this off and really build it. Not just in Fluvius, we really want to do it the right way. We want to do it decentralized, and we will work together in co-creation in a consortium, building on Energy Web with all the other companies who are interested in this entire life cycle. So that's actually where we're at, and I would like to explain some things about it. So because I think it's really interesting, and I see a lot of discussions like, what is real use case, and when will we use the Energy Web token, and when will we see real money flows and so on. So it's all incorporated in this kind of solutions.
Awesome. Yeah, of course, the people interested in Energy Web for a while now, they know about Fluvius and EasyBat solution from last year. But I think it's slipped people's mind, and not a lot of people have kept up to date with it. So I'm really excited about this presentation, but thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Well, yeah, I'll go fast with this one because no one is interested in this. So as you see on my screen, you see a lot of silos, and you see that there are a lot of different companies involved in a complex process like life cycle of batteries, and that counts for any asset, any asset that is like in this energy market. It counts for EV, it counts for charging infrastructure, it counts from solar infrastructure, everything. And it's a really siloed thing. And if we look like from a grid operator point of view, an end user who needs to like send information to the grid operator, to actually commission the battery to say that he has a battery, which is obliged in Belgium at least. He needs to do a very cumbersome process. He needs to go through a lot of paperwork. He needs to know a lot of things that actually are not his cup of tea. So it's a really, really difficult thing. And this slide says it all. So on the left, you see like 2,000 people who start to register their battery and who wanted to do the stuff that companies like Fluvius ask. And after a few months, only 2 people succeeded. Because, yeah, a lot of things are asked and it's very complex. And at a certain point, those people say, you know what, I don't care. I just don't register my battery. I use it and that's it. And that's, of course, a bad thing for grid operators because they want to keep their grid stable. They want to know what's going on at the customer side. And yeah, if these things are not registered or if we just don't see these things and they are a blind spot, we cannot do anything with these devices. So it's not only knowing that the device is there, it's also enabling these things in the future for stuff like residential flex and so on. So this is just to show the past. Let me go to the next thing. Oh, okay. So we actually build a solution using Switchboard for the IDs and using smart contracts to track and trace the whole life cycle. And we built a solution on the blockchain because then it is a shared ledger and everyone in this value stream can do their own thing, which means that Fluvius should not bother about if this battery is like legal, if this battery is actually existing, if this battery is correct installed and so on. These are other parties who do it in the flow. And in a traditional system, this would be very hard to set up because you would need a very complex aggregated system. But on blockchain, as we all know, it's super easy. You can set it up transactional. And that's actually what we built.
Can you give an example of how that is functioning in practice?
Yeah, sure. So what we actually do is we try to get a DID, so a decentralized identifier, so to speak, a digital passport of this device as soon as we can on the blockchain. So preferably it should be in the factory. This is of course very hard to do. So the closest step to the factory we have now is the wholesale or the importer of these batteries. And what they should do is they should like print a QR code on the device, on the physical device. And this QR code is tied to a DID, so to speak, to a blockchain address. And once it is there, anyone can like just with an app scan the QR code and see where in the process the device is and add a new transaction. So for instance, if an installer installs this, he would just scan the QR and then digitally sign with his credentials that are checked through Switchboard that he is in fact an installer and that he is actually an existing installer with a reputation. And he just digitally signs the fact that he has installed this. In the background, we also store GPS coordinates and some other stuff. Of course, we keep it at minimum as possible, but we store some other stuff to make sure that this transaction is to trust. And then the next step would be, for instance, that somebody before the battery is like put into operation in Belgium, you need to make sure it is verified. So these are people that come and verify your installation, just as you would see in buildings with elevators. In elevators, it's also they install it, and before they can put it into operation, it should be checked by a validator or electricity installation validator or verifier. And they do the same. They have a reputation. They log in this system. They have a decentralized identifier. So they can actually sign with their key that this is actually correct, installed, and that everything is okay to put into function, which is like really revolutionary, because before this was a whole tracked with paperwork.
That must have been a cumbersome process.
Yeah, really, yeah, but it is what it is. So I can, of course, only speak for Belgium, but this would mean, like, if you install solar panels, it would take you 2 months after the installation until you can actually like get it properly verified, because you need to wait for the paperwork and a lot of people have to come and so on. And then system operators like Fluvius, they need to check everything, that you are not like sending in some paper that is not correct. So it's really cumbersome process. So I can show some screenshots, but before I do, maybe let's hear if you guys have questions.
I see a mobile app on the next page on your presentation. Yes, it looks nice. Is it already live app or is about to come?
This one is it's not this particular screen. We skipped it in the first version, but we have already the code. And what we actually do here is it's a bit to compare with what we do in the staking pools. In the staking pools, you have to verify with your email that you are actually who you are. And what we do here is the first time you install this, you actually have this process where we have the mobile phone. You get an identifier to prove that you are actually on this phone, and we digitally sign with biometrics. So you have a thumb that we actually use to make sure that this verifier is bound to a physical guy. And this way is even more watertight than an email, because it's impossible to like register a lot of different. It's always still possible, but it is harder. But this is actually 100% switchboard, what you see here. For companies like Fluvius, it's super cool that there is a switchboard and that there is stuff like EW does, because building this from the ground would mean like for sure half a year work, and now it's just there. So we were able to use this and like build this kind of things in a week.
That is amazing. I have one question. So when I connect the dots, so to say, in my own mind, you look at digital identifiers that are used to identify batteries, and you can make a battery passport of these. That is what we've been talking about in this session so far. A switchboard can be used to manage these different assets, these different batteries, with their own digital identifier. Is this also going to play a role then in the virtual power plants? So for virtual power plants, you use the energy from different decentralized energy assets that are registered, and these come together. They're being clustered and then sent out to the places that need that energy. So you stabilize the grid with a virtual power plant, and you use decentralized assets for that. Do these batteries also play a role in that system, or is it simply energy generating assets such as solar panels and windmills, for an example?
In my opinion, it will be playing a part, yes. And any use case you do needs a way to digitally identify this asset and to verify that this asset actually is there and that the asset actually done something. So yeah, that's why decentralized identifiers are key to all these use cases. So once we have the battery, we know the battery is there. It is actually quite easy to leverage this into a solution like virtual power plant or peak shaving or flex or yeah, there's so many use cases.
Really cool because from what I know about the industry is that more and more focus is being placed on storage systems or storage opportunities for electricity, and storage of electricity for a longer period of time was quite hard in the past, and it's still not perfection. What is the English word? It's still not a perfect system, but battery storage is growing, and it's growing better and better. You see that with Tesla Powerwall. You see it with all kinds of home batteries. So I can imagine that this is a ever-growing market. Um, Looking at that market, I have a question regarding that as well. Because as I mentioned, I saw different competitors in the battery passport sector. Um, Spherity, for example, which is a known company with links to the World Economic Forum, by the way. The founder of that is part of the World Economic Forum himself. And they're working on a battery passport and have a podcast about that. Then there is Envision with Infosys working together with this Indian company on a battery passport. The CitEW, part of Mobi initiative for the Mobility Alliance, with Parts Track that they created. Kria with Resource, Everledger with Ford is what they're working on a battery passport, and there's others too. So what I was thinking is this system that there's more and more competition. It's growing. The market is growing a lot for energy storage. Do you think this is a winner takes all market, or do you think because some of these initiatives have gotten a lot of government support, but do you think these
Well,
could exist next to each other, or?
yeah, actually, I think, and I'm really confident that the winner will be the company who creates this in an open manner, not closed source, and open for everyone. So interoperability is key. At least we are planning to build this 100% open. So to speak, if Steden in the Netherlands wants to address an asset that is like installed in Belgium, they can just talk and interact with the smart contracts and with Web3 APIs. As far as I know, the other companies, they all have like some remuneration model. So yeah, but it's possible that they will open this as well. But maybe important to say, EasyBat and also Switchboard, they work on W3C standards. So they use identity documents,
Mhm.
and identity documents is an open protocol. So even if you would like eliminate the blockchain part, it is still possible to integrate and interact with assets created on this technology.
That
I
is
don't
cool.
know if that answers your question, Gabe.
Interesting.
Oh yes, I think it's very interesting, and it does. Well, I was also wondering, like, I can imagine if you want to create this virtual power plant kind of idea, or if you want to generate a system in which assets that are connected to each other, or communities, for example, that are connected to each other, interact with energy stabilizing solutions such as batteries, which can store energy and make sure that um, the supply of energy is more constant than when you're simply dependent on energy as it's generated from solar panels and windmills. You talked something about digital identifiers and connecting the system to each other earlier to me. Can you explain a little bit about that as well? How that functions and what makes it unique? I think you know what I'm talking about. I forgot the exact name, but it's still about the connecting of digital identifiers to each other in an ecosystem.
To be honest, I don't know what the answer
All right.
would be to that. What I
Mhm.
do know is that okay, DIDs and all the standards we use and Energy Web DOS uses,
Mhm.
yeah, they are open standards. So everyone who's able to read the documentation can interact with this. Um, So yeah, and on the end, once you have the battery installed, so like for Fluvius, the first step is to know that there are batteries. But once they know it, they can use it for other stuff. And like, yeah, this project has been on the table for 3 years now. And now we have a real momentum. So today, Fluvius is doing this project not alone for batteries. We will also register solar panels on this. We will also plan to register charging infrastructure on this. So we really want it open for all the assets. And in the future, we want a digital twin of the entire grid. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we don't see it small because it's a waste of potential if we do this small. Also today, all these assets are like registered in SAP backend systems. Really hard to change stuff. Really hard to do something fast. And in the future, we want this on simple technology that is easy to adapt.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think that explains it to me. And did you have something else that you wanted to show regarding what Fluvius has been building?
Maybe I can show you one more thing that's really interesting. That's actually my next slide. So this slide you see actually the process. So scanning and then filling some extra info, sticking it on the battery, and then you have it registered as a digital passport. Let me go to the next slide.
Thanks for explaining that. That makes it clear also what is shown on there to the podcast listeners at a later stage.
Yeah. It's always difficult, of course, that you don't have screens on Spotify, you know. But this one is interesting because there's another problem we actually tackle in this flow. Like Europe has something as well, and it's called take back obligations. So Europe demands all the European countries from this year that the money actually to take back the battery when it is end of life, that it is all prepaid. So in a normal classic way, this would be super hard to implement. It would mean that these companies like BeBat would need conventional banking and would have to like collect all this money on conventional bank accounts. And when something is like taken back in 10 years time something, they should be able to pay for that. So it is impossible to track this. So what we actually built is in an escrow contract where an OEM, so a manufacturer, at the creation of a digital passport, he deposited or he deposits a stable coin inside the smart contract. And it's only someone who's able to actually take back the battery in real life that can unlock this money, which is like a very revolutionary thing to do.
Oh, that is cool. How it's an escrow deposit function you said, and that is funded by community, I guess, and there's some sort of reward for that, or how would that work?
Well, it has potential to leverage this into staking all the stuff, but what it is now, today, it is the plan to use a stable coin that is backed by a classic bank, like you would say USDT or something, but a new stable coin that is backed by this bank. So, like if this manufacturer wants to have like 1,000 euros, he would need to pay 1,000 euros or send 1,000 euros to a classic bank account, and he would get 1,000 digital euros in exchange. That's the first step, the most easy step. And we would do this because of very, very strict regulation today. But in the future, this can be replaced by DeFi, by decentralized money, by like smart contract created stable coins.
That seems
regardless,
sorry.
Regardless where the stable coins come from, you can imagine that this thing has a huge potential, because if we have like tomorrow 500,000 batteries registered in this system, it could mean 500,000 times 100 euros. This is a huge amount of money, and it's there in the smart contract, and it can be used for anyone who needs money as a lending thing. So this money is not just like doing nothing and dying. Having a battery can actually create some monetary value and create some interest on the fact that there's money inside this battery.
Awesome. That is a great solution.
Yeah, I have a question. When can we expect this application? Do we have a timeline or?
This year.
Oh, nice.
This year, and we actually plan to go fast, but now we are in the stage of building a real consortium. So we don't want this to be an application of BeBat or of Fluvius or anyone who's like participating in this. We need a new consortium, and we need to do this together. So like, for instance, this escrow functionality, it will not be built by Fluvius. It will be built by someone who has the know-how and the reputation to do the banking stuff. So we would like work with the bank in this example. For instance, everything that has to do with registering of the battery at the start of the process should not be done by Fluvius, not be done by BeBat, but be done by some federation who works today with OEMs and people who are like importing batteries and so on. So they have to work in this consortium as well.
Interesting.
And
Gator.
This talks we already did. So it's not like a dream. We already talked with these people. So we have many people interested.
Oh, it's a done deal then. Another done deal.
No, this reminds me of the Vodafone integration we had with DAB, I think, DAB. They work together with Mastercard to integrate the payment method.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's
if Mastercard can add value to this, they're happy, or we would be happy to talk to them.
I will tweet at them.
You can always try, right?
That was a great talk, I believe. You provide lots of info on EasyBat.
I have a last one very last thing. We actually created something new already. It's already on Volta. We have created nested DIDs, and it's a new complex thing. Like a battery installation is just it. It is not just a DID. It is actually a tree structure, a hash tree of different modules. Like in your battery, like you see on the picture, you have like a base, an inverter, and then you have 3 battery packs. And we have already created smart contracts who can deal with that, who can like create a hash tree of different modules. And on the top hash, you have the installation. So this smart contract, for those who can like dig on Volta, you'll be able to find this. And we have it already. So that's the last thing. And now let's go to the rest of the podcast.
This is actually what I wanted to talk about, or what I meant with the question that I had earlier about the connecting of multiple assets. So nested DIDs is you combine in a bundle, so to say, the DIDs, and you have a system for that. So this could be, if I'm understanding it correctly, that is, this could be used for example, a regional community or a local community with different assets then, or am I mistaken there?
Technically, you could use this. Like we have implemented now, it's to describe a bill of material of one installation. So for instance, if you have solar panels on your roof, it is like 10 different solar panels and one inverter. So those 10 panels plus the inverter, which makes 11 DIDs, would combine together in a 12th aggregated DID. So we know that this is the installation. And at the moment on blockchain, you change anything, you have a new installation. It's not the same one as before because you have changed the panel or something. And that's what we built here.
Nice, I like it. Thanks for explaining that. A little bit different than I thought it was, but it's that's great. Yeah. Okay. So I think was this the part that you wanted to present, Bart, or was there more to it?
No, that was basically it. So I'm like open for questions or to discuss other things.
Any questions from the public, maybe? You can ask them in the chat if you don't want to speak. If you do want to speak, you can ask to be unmuted by us. And remember to press push to talk. So press the space bar if you want to talk, like I had to do as well. I gave it a few seconds for people to ask questions or come up with any questions. In the meantime, maybe we can go a little bit further with other stuff that we found out about. Is there anything else that you, Neo, or Ardian found and still want to share with us in this session?
Yes, I will add something. It's speculation, my personal speculation, but I had to talk about it because it's in my blood. So, but after the Coebar, I will share some cool stuff.
Nice. I don't see any questions coming up, so it seems like we got everyone silent.
I have one about speculation. People have been asking to me, like, how is this kind of tools like EasyBat, how is it going to be beneficiary for NGWeb token? Well, I can say it is for sure beneficiary, not just for paying the transaction costs, because we know this is a very, very little part of NGWeb token. But what we are planning to do here is actually see if we can request a little bit of NGWeb token to actually create an identifier DID during the process. So to speak, like to pay like the costs for the consortium or for the backend work.
Yeah,
It's
great.
just an idea. It's not like put into action yet. So, but it is like all possible to do this. And if people in the community have ideas about this, please feel free to discuss.
Yeah, you should do it.
Nice. I have one more question. Is this do you see any obstacles in the adoption of these battery passports? Because what we've seen in the past with EnergyWeb, but also with any other project in the crypto space, is that regulation is often an obstacle, as is the companies daring to do something with crypto and blockchain. Do you see any obstacles like that with the battery passport, or do you think that it's actually supported by governments at the moment?
We already talked to the government about this, and it's a done deal.
Okay.
Only thing that is a difficult one, but that comes for the entire Web3 space. That is, if we want to roll this out involving regular people, like not me and you, because we are not like really regular, but your mom and dad or your grandfather or your neighbor, they should not be bothered with anything blockchain, MetaMask and stuff. So that is a real like challenge, but we have already solutions for this. But it is one of the main challenges, and another one is, yeah, making sure that devices are able to talk crypto, that they can store like digital tokens and so on. So, but for this use case, it's not really needed. I would say the biggest one is making sure that these applications are built on blockchain, but nobody knows they are built on blockchain.
That's the
Good
tricky
point.
part.
Uh, And is there any other solution like Switchboard around? Because I think that the whole management of assets, of digital assets, a lot of people are focusing presently on these digital identifiers. A lot of companies are focusing on that. Verifiable credentials are a hot topic. Self-sovereign identity is a hot topic presently. Um, but do you think that Energy Web has a golden egg, so to say? Um, Regarding the management solution, the Switchboard solution, or is there other competitors around as well?
I think they have a golden egg.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Um,
That's what we
they
want to hear.
they've done two things really right in NGWeb. They built Switchboard on open standards. So if you look at all these other projects that you named, if you, for instance, look to the European blockchain EPSI, they
Yep.
use exactly the same technology as the ideas on Switchboard. Only they don't have a management solution, which Switchboard is. It's a front end on all this backend stuff. So yeah, I really think NGWeb has a really, really cool solution here.
Great. Yeah, I'd hoped you say that, but I found a lot of these digital identifier companies, a lot of these battery passport companies, but I didn't find anything about the management of these different assets. I believe that there's also different DIT standards, right? In one of the previous Energy Web sessions, it was talked about that there's about 50 plus different DIT standards. So these will be standardized, or at least will have to comply with certain regulation in order to function on the same system, right?
Yes, but we are using the standard. The W3C standard is the most seen standard in the space. Europe is using this. Even the Hyperledger Foundation is using this. This is the standard. So the architects at Energy Weapon, I believe it was Micha and Ionis, all those guys. Back in the days, they did a real good job with not going over like one night of ice. They really worked this out really good. So I think it will pay off in the future.
Nice. Thank you for your contribution. It was a great session. I believe, unless Ardian has things to add or other people want to add things or ask questions, um, then let me know, and we can continue it for a few minutes. But from my end, this was all I had to bring into this session. Ardian, anything else from your end?
I don't have anything to add. Coebar really helped us and really gave some good insights for what's to come to Energy Web and what he built for past 2 years. I think.
Yeah, I think it's 3 years. And
I
yeah,
think.
once again, this all wouldn't have been possible without the very tight contribution with Energy Web itself. Um, a lot of enthusiastic people have like worked on this. It's not something I did alone, not at all. So I would once again like to emphasize that Switchboard and all the genial minds behind Energy Web and Energy Web team has done a real good job. So yeah, we're about to bring this to production. Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone, once again.
Yeah, thank you, and hopefully we will have Coebar again.
That would
Yeah.
be cool.
Thanks for having me. Whenever I can contribute to something, reach out.
Awesome. I'll keep you to that. Have a great evening, guys, or a great day, wherever you are, and see you next time. Bye bye.